Okay, so I have a question. Not my personal question. I've been struggling with this a lot. Ego. And you said that there is a point in the movie you talk about, or maybe you didn't talk about, the creator of the movie talked about a point where you you realize that why you were doing some of the chanting may be ego based versus spirit based, and that you then went to India, and on June 12th, actually coming up, you actually had this. What is it called? Some festival.
It was the 15th of June,
Sorry,
1990.
15th. Not that you remembered or anything.
Not that I remember. Just this the day that my life changed and completely.
All right. And that's the part that I was crying in the movie.
Hmm.
So tell me about that experience for you.
Um, it was grace. It was my guru's grace. Uh, I was in a place that I couldn't get out of. I was unable to do the very thing that I had to do to save myself, to save my ass. And my own stuff was preventing me from doing it. My own desires, my own hungers, my own, just humanness in this sense, was preventing me from doing the practice the way it had to be done. I was going to use the chanting to feed all my desires,
Ah, whoa. Wow, okay.
which, wasn't going to help me or anybody else.
Yeah.
And that's not why I was doing the practice. That wasn't my impetus. My impetus was that I had realized that chanting with people was actually the only thing I could do to help myself. So now here I was, unable to do that because I was, I was, it's like you're given a beautiful new car and you just, you drive into a tree. That's what I was doing. Every day I got into the car, I'd drive into a tree. And I came up against my own stuff and I was helpless. I was truly helpless. And I just, I would talk to Maharaji, of course, who'd been left the body, 20 years before. And I said, you got to change this. You got to fix this. If you don't fix this, I'm not singing anymore. And that's all there is to it. Period.
Well,
You
what
got
did you expect him to fix? You expect him to
I
fix your
fixed,
desires?
I expected him to change my heart somehow.
Wow. Wow.
I because I couldn't. I was, like I said, I was, I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, it's like an addiction in some ways. Like you had had
Yeah,
previously, earlier in your life, you had, whatever, year and a half with addictions. This is yet another addiction
in a way, but
to desires.
it wasn't just desires. I mean, as if there's anything else. If we're honest,
Yes.
uh, it was that the yearning of my heart was being destroyed by my own my by me, and that there was I was unable to fulfill that yearning to follow that yearning. That I was too hungry, and I couldn't stop using people for my own to satisfy my own needs, using the situation, not just people, but the situation. And it was horrible. It was, it was absolutely the worst despair that I have ever felt because I couldn't do anything. I was helpless. But nor did I recognize the only thing that was required at the time, which was surrender. So I was helpless, and yet if I had seen that I was really helpless, that would have been surrender. But I was helpless and pissed off and angry and upset and hurt and depressed and all those things. So so I went to India and I stayed, wound up staying 3 months, and um, uh, the night before, a couple of nights before, which was to be my last night in the temple, before leaving to go down to Delhi and get a plane home, I, I would every night I would say to Maharaji, another day has gone by, and you haven't done anything. You haven't fixed this. What's wrong with you? Get it together.
I like how Maharaji is like a car mechanic for you.
He is a car mechanic. He's the car mechanic, the karma mechanic.
Okay.
But in retrospect, if you realize, I had no doubt that he could do this. None. Would he? That was the only thing I didn't know. And he wasn't. Day after day was going by, and the despair was just unbearable. And he wasn't doing anything. Nothing was changing. It was really hard. So then, a couple of nights before I was supposed to leave, I went out to this, every night while I was in the temple, which was about the last month I was there, I would go out to the back, where in the old days there was all this dark, these beautiful, you could see the sky, there was no lights. Now there's lights everywhere in the valleys, full of electricity. In those days there was almost nothing. So I find this one place where it's dark, and kind of in the shadows, and there's no light shining, and I looked up at the stars and I would talk to him, So on this night, I said, you haven't done anything. I'm leaving in 2 days. What's going on here? And then I said, well, I can't make you do this if you don't want to. I can't make you do this. And I don't understand why you're not doing it, but I can't make you do this. So whatever you're going to do is going to be fine. I mean, I'm not going to like it. I'll go back. I'll sing. How bad could it be? Good night. In retrospect, I realized many years later, kind of, I guess while I was telling somebody's story, that was the moment of surrender, of accepting myself and the situation the way it is, not the way I wanted it to be. And even though I knew it was going to be horrible, because I knew I knew who I am and who I was and the way I was willing to go through it. Okay, fuck it. I'm going to do this. I'll go back. I'll sing. How bad could it be? Well, it could have been really bad. However, that was what precipitated the next day, which was a day that changed everything for me, because I can't really describe it directly. I can only say that I saw what everything is. I not only did I see myself and all my and who I am and all this, the meanness, all the humanness and all the stuff, but I saw that when people came to chant and when they approached me, they didn't want me. They were feeling this connection to something, taking it as me. And he showed me during that course of that day, I experienced directly that there is no me at all, actually. That's just a fantasy. And that I was freed to actually come back and really sing, because it wasn't about me at all. And even if people thought it was me, that's okay. That's their problem. And even if I forget and think it's me, it's okay. It's okay to be stupid, because it isn't.
Yeah.
Even if I think it is, the truth is actually not that. So I was freed. It wasn't my problem anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't my problem. It was his problem. It was just the situation. And there was a lot of other things that happened, blah, 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 but the result was that I was free to come back and really sing. And that was just, So he did fix it.
Mm. And when you're singing, does it make me cry again? God.
No, a disclaimer, I own stock in all the tissue companies.
No wonder. All right, so when you're singing, how does it feel differently? Being freed and knowing that it's
I was
just.
free just to do it, to sing. I wasn't, it wasn't about me. It
Mm,
wasn't about me. It wasn't even about what I experience while I'm singing.
mm,
My job is just to concentrate on the chant,
mm,
on the sound of the words, of the names. That's what I was free to do. I didn't have to worry. It wasn't what other people experience isn't my business. It's not my problem, my issue. That's not why I'm doing it.
mm.
I'm doing it to come back home again, over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And personally, I think that's what, on one level, on some level, frees other people to get back home too, because their home is apparently looks to be in a different place, looks to be where they are.
Hmm.
But ultimately, we're all here. So it's very interesting, you know.
Yeah. What a beautiful story. So tell me, in the last couple of minutes, tell me about your newest album and what
Ah,
your intentions are for
well,
that.
it's funny. The newest album is named Kirtanwala, which of course is the simplest I could come up with, which is what I am, a kirtan. It's the guy who does kirtan. That's it, who chants. And it continues the evolution of the music of it and the feeling at ease just to express myself whatever way it comes through without any judging it or wondering if anybody's going to like it, or just to do what I always do and do, which is try to make myself happy,
Yeah.
enjoy myself, and sing what I like. I,
I love it.
I'm surprised more than anybody that so many people enjoy this and like this, because that's not my motivation. My motivation is simply to come home, to remember, to remember, to remember, and that's what the practice helps me with.
Mm.
So Kirtanwala has a bunch of new tunes. It's the same old mantras, thousands of years ago, thousands of years into it, same stuff. But the music is different, and the vibe is very light and sweet. And uh, I, I have to grit my teeth and say this, but it's a little happier feeling record.
Oh no.
Horrible. I know. I can't. I'm not. It's just there's a joy that we had a great time doing it, and there was a great. It's much more joyful and
Yeah.
deep. It's also very deep too. But whatever. This is what people are saying. I get all these female. Oh, this is such a happy feeling, and I say, well, if you only knew me, you wouldn't say that. But
Well, it has been such a pleasure and honor and blessing to be with you and to learn about your life and God, the lessons that you've learned. Thank you.
thank you, and I guess I'll see you out there soon, right?
Yeah, well, you're coming on June 28th, so I'll be back. We'll be back from China, and I will be there June 28th, 7 to
Great.
10 o'clock in Seattle Center for Spirituality, and you can sign up for the tickets at East West Bookstore.
I'll remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure to get your ticket.
Yeah, I'll remember to show up at the right place.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. What a
Okay.
blessing and honor to be with you.
Thank you.
Beautiful soul. Oh my gosh, what a
Take
beautiful soul
care.
you have. Thank you so much.